to their fate, and they will go down in 5th place, which leaves us now with a top 4 of Eternal Fire, Na'Vi, TDT, and Lunar Galaxy. The team that we've been following since the start of this game somehow have managed to keep those couple of members alive, and honestly, this now is starting to look like a position that they could actually do something.
The good news for them is that the Mad is occupied now. They know that TDT is going to have to make a push in on the northeast, so he can't push down to third party list. It does not matter. Na'Vi finally activating their position on the dirt road houses. For so long they've had to keep their heads down, but now they're getting active, and Soset with an all-important headshot to come through, but he's immediately taken out. YF got an opportunity, an angle, and now they're 2 men up. They know that that western bridge is free, and they've got a vehicle to try and make a move towards it.
It's a duo versus a trio. TDT are on their way, as you say, inside that Garcia, trying to take some positioning, but meanwhile, the Eternal Fire have started to sweep their way through this zone, and they've taken so much zone control.
The zone does them no favors. It's not a terrible shift by any means, but it's enough to force them into positions where the Ruin off angle, now calling in Kepler for support, knowing he's been spotted, leaves it just down to essentially a 1 versus 1 against the Mad if they want to try to find any sort of position, and it's just impossible for them to know exactly where he is. Now that he's got the folded shield in position, doesn't even matter. Ruin lands the off angle with a headshot, and YF left in a 1 versus 3 against Eternal Fire.
Yeah, not looking like an easy situation for him at all. Doesn't seem doable, to be honest. He spotted out Ruin, gets a little bit of damage across. He's not making it easy for Eternal Fire. Making them work for it, at least.
I like it. There is a historical precedent for MEA teams to get over-aggressive in some situations, to overcommit to fights. Kepler tosses out a grenade in the wrong location. YF has kind of slipped away. They've kind of lost track of where he is. He's positioned himself in a very dangerous position between several players, but the Mad doesn't have the angle just yet. Now he does, but it's not quite enough on the first spray, but the second easily enough comes through. Eternal Fire picking up a win in match number 1.
Yeah, very comfortable win too. It feels like things are brewing quite nicely for Twisted Minds, and honestly their position in this game is looking even better than it was in game 1. Fragging nicely, they've got good zone control, they don't have anyone to worry about, and anyone that's even trying to get close is just getting picked apart, as you can see. This might well be Twisted Minds waltzing towards a victory.
Well, that's one way to trade yourself, I suppose, as Heather takes Neong out of the vehicle, and the vehicle continues rolling and smacks Heather to smithereens. The GNL down to just a solo, gone completely now as Guillaume caught out, and once again, playing out from that down plane. Twisted Minds have had full control, and once again, it was the patience that is the reason why. They won the previous game with a total distance traveled of less than 3 kilometers, less than 800 meters per person. That's less distance than like some teams have to go to even reach their drop spot out of the plane, and they barely had to move. But they controlled space so damn well, Jordan, and they've done it again here too.
Yep, certainly. Cerberus not necessarily look like a massive threat for Twisted Minds at the moment, but could be for FW Esports. The bike squad rolling down the hill. Banana One might follow suit as well, because he's been knocked out. Headshot from Petulans. It's looking too easy right now for Twisted Minds. I mean, no one's even firing back.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's like no one can stand up to them. It's not even a sense of like pressure or composure. It's just the fact that the position gives them just too much space to work with, too many angles, and too many opposition to shoot at. Soset getting a knock as well at the same time that Cerberus lose another player to Twisted Minds means that it's down to the battle of the solos just to see who can get second place up against this dominant looking Twisted Minds, and Isaki is going to try and take down the 2-point kill on Soset. He can't even do that as Perfectix steals that from under his nose for his 11th of the game. Oh god, Isaki, they know he's...
Oh, look at him go!
They're not going to let him deny.
I don't want to die! I want to go down on my own terms, is what he says. But of course, it is going to be Twisted Minds that will take game number 2.
Dominant alive for as long as they did. Now maintaining enough of a hold for even the Mad to start flexing out towards Sonics. Start making it a bit more difficult for them to make their move when they eventually have to. Ruin landing the tags onto Wang's eye. Bobo falls down shortly afterwards as well. 4 AM. Might be the end of the road for them.
Yeah, certainly. I've got to give credit to Eternal Fire, right? It didn't look like their position was going to be a particularly tenable one, but they've actually played it quite nicely, and they've got themselves 7 kills so far, still 4 players alive.
16 frag grenades. for the Sonics.
Well, exactly what I was saying earlier on, right? Like, they've been keeping their heads down. They haven't had to use any of their resources. Everyone else has been fighting, but the Sonics. Tig did get knocked once. That was
Game plan for Sonics, but someone's about to start pushing into them. They're going to have to start deploying those smokes fairly soon, but for now, just looking for anything more that they can get towards KDF. Not presenting them with an opportunity, so now the smoke's starting to be deployed.
Yeah, I mean, a fair bit on the line actually here for Sonics. They haven't actually really got a huge amount of points out of this game so far. Obviously, they're inside the top 4, so they're getting some placements, but they haven't found any kills just yet. So it's not going to be a massive win for them. If they were to get knocked in 4th place, for example, it would actually end up being quite an average game.
There you go. Look at all those grenades arcing in the background. The Mad once again playing the off angle, sacking his life potentially to try and open the door for Eternal Fire to succeed in this fight. Code Marco gets the opening knock and the smokes are just not enough. They've thrown 10 of them and they're still losing players.
They might actually decide to go north here with that knock that they've gotten onto KDF. Shrimzy finishing off Human, and that's going to be the rest of the lads trying to follow suit. It has only really been Tingleton that's been able to make that cross, but it is an ill-fated cross indeed. Eternal Fire, this game, it just doesn't slow down for them. Every single time we turn back to Eternal Fire, they're getting a kill, getting a knock, getting some cross shots, and now they're even shooting KDF. I mean, it doesn't seem like this is going to go wrong for Eternal Fire at all. I thought the game was going to kind of go wrong at some point, but that point just has not arrived.
One downside is they've fully committed their entire force to the south. There's nothing preventing KDF from crossing over the road and getting down into that ridge right now. But now that Shrimzy's gone, it's an immediate switch of focus for Eternal Fire. Oh my god, Code Marco tapping down heads, reversing over the ridge, just about gets there. There's the 15x on that MK12. God damn, that thing is... You can see inside KDF's thoughts right now.
Eternal Fire, they're just so hot right now, man. Like, they're just hitting everything. Taking so much map control as well. Kepler having been able to push his way forward. Seems to be information that's gone across to KDF and they headed in his direction, proving that fact. But 2 players trying to hold on against this kind of an onslaught. I mean, this has been Eternal Fire's world. We are just living in it, and that is their 2nd win of the day. They won game 1, but game 3, I've seen it so many times where he's the last player alive and he just gets something done. It's like, where did that even come from? Just somehow manages to do it over and over and over again. But now we're into the 4-on-3-on-3. So this is the opportunity maybe for the Sonics to get their points back on the board and start to claw their way inside of that top 3. As Martin was saying on the desk, the top 2 are actually holding on to such a chunk of points that a big win here, or even just an average win, kind of gets you back in the conversation. And that's already where Sonics is at with those 7 points that they've got from the kills. New Happy, the team name, don't know about that one. Don't know if they're going to be jumping up too much further now than 14th, where they really did need to get some more points on the board. And that job gets harder with only a couple of players.
Yeah, and also being the focal point caught in between the team with...
Yeah, so it's going to have to be pretty clean in this fight, though. If they lose a player, that opens the door back up for Eternal Fire to go back-to-back. The 3rd party definitely on offer here for Eternal Fire.
Kick, though. He's crept his way over the eastern side of the ridge, around the side with the Groza, and Eternal Fire caught with their pants all the way down too. Quick knocks with that Groza, and Sonics, they've got options now. Do they commit to this push against New Happy, or do they try and clean up the knocks that they have? Make sure that EF can't get the reses. It's going to take the opportunity to try and take the fight to New Happy, and Shrimzy rips Nan down off the roof.
It is the moment of respite right now that Eternal Fire are hoping for. They are banking on the fact that New Happy is going to slow Sonics down, because that's giving them the chance to reset. When we're watching this, we have to remember Eternal Fire, they do still technically have 3 players alive. So if Ming Ming can survive another 10 becomes irrelevant. Here's Ming Ming for absolutely nothing. And so we're into the 3-on-4, but Eternal Fire, they are a healthy 3 once again.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. Tingleton had to hop in that Dacia and try to drive it out of the way because it was wedging the door. They could have pushed earlier, but that Dacia was just blocking it completely, and he couldn't move the car because it was wedged in between the wall and another car. Just so many teams sending it into this position due to lack of alternative options. That was like 20 minutes ago that all went down, and it affects the fight in the late game. Such a cool little weird butterfly effect thing, but in the end it amounts to nothing. Nan can't mount any sort of defense, and Shrimzy gets a re-knock as a Molotov gets shot out of the air in front of his face.
Yeah, expertly done really from the Sonics. They've had to work hard for this win, but it looks like it is going to be a win. Eternal Fire don't have a whole lot of room left to work with. Zone pushing at their backs. Marco will get a knock, but that won't be enough to really unsettle Sonics right here, as they are going to continue their charge forward, and you might just consider this a victory lap, if nothing else. Shrimsy round the back. Won't quite find his man, but in the end, it is going to be Sonics to claim a victory in game number 4. It's been a little while coming. He's done a really good job, and I think he might actually get maybe even more than a top 4, depending on where this zone shift is going to go. It does move away from him, so might have
towards this, but still going, but surely as soon as he wiggles his way out from around the tractor, sees that New Happy's still looking in this direction, yeah, it's over. Just going to toss out the nades that he has, maybe go for a spot. He actually lands it. Maybe the grenade will get the flush as well. No. Not quite. Close, though. He almost got 2 on that spray as well. That would have been huge.
Yeah, Sem don't want to take advantage of that, though, because if they do that, then that opens their back up to Gen G. So it's a bit of a gonna have to go. The smokes are up, and Barpo making his way over alongside Tosi. Brooks doesn't actually land too many shots, and now puts himself in a bit of an awkward spot.
Yeah, he's a very forward-thinking IGL, very similar to what we've seen from the likes of the Mad, putting himself in risky spots for the greater good of the squad. But now Gen G have gone directly into the warehouse, and now both teams tossing utility out towards them. That was about 9 blue zone grenades, and none of them are going to reach behind this hay bale. So Tosi gets the chance to get the revive onto Barpo.
That's a miracle.
Still have Rex on the northern side that's holding back the push of Ascent. They can't really flush Gen G out from this position. They're going to get a chance to res and heal as well.
Yeah, you got to remember as well, like Rex is just a bit of a pain for both of these teams potentially. I mean, if New Happy push too far out into the field, Rex might even have an angle onto that as well. So this is definitely some tentative times. Rex is made safe by the smoke in front of him. Once that dissipates, he's going to have to push in.
It seems like Ascent have committed to the idea that they are not playing the game until Rex is dead. They need him gone for them to be able to do anything else. All 3 of their surviving remaining members fully focused on the north. Ming even contributes with a little bit of a spray after wrapping someone around to the side. Both doorways smoked off, so it feels safe enough to do it.
Yeah, I was just wondering whether or not we were going to see anything from Ispers on that route. He feels like he's kind of the X factor for this little dance that we've got at the moment. He's the only one that can really push and make any kind of proactive play. That's exactly what he's doing. He's found Tosi, and that is going to open the door up for New Happy to push their way in.
I didn't see. He's right there. Get the flush.
He's probably worried about Chris on the roof, which is fair enough. Rex inside of that smoke. He's trying to play some kind of ninja gameplay, but he's been heard by Rex. And Rex has actually doubled down. He's finished off Rex. Rex onto Rex. Can you believe it? Chris has found Ming. It's all a bit of a mess right now, but it is Chris up on that roof trying to save the day for Ascent. Take that win.
How did they get him down? They've got no utility left.
Well, they've got the blue zone. That eventually is going to force him out.
And when it forces him out, it forces them out into the open as well. If he can just get this heal down, it's down to a 1 versus 1. Xiaoxi, the only real benefit he has is the fact that he can go over the top and get him. Oh, finally, 1 more bullet is all it took. But Chris, oh man, you talk about players clutching up in 1vx factors on top of the hill. Cerberus had no idea that he was there. He pushed around. He's actually hopped out of it as well, just to try and get some of these points. Himas taken down again by Shrimsy over the top and cleaned up completely. Heather gets the 1 point out of it, but Shrimsy cleans up the rest. And now Heather has given up his hiding spot. He's in trouble. But so is Ascent. Down to just the solo left of Pains and Tiamba's widespread on both sides of the road. And Chumacera means there's no exit for him.
Yeah, Tiamba actually need to get that revive, and they need to take control of Chumacera pretty quickly, because Sonics are sweeping their way through this zone. They are taking so much space that even though Tiamba has 4 players technically alive, even if one of them is not, this is actually looking like Sonics is going to walk towards their second victory of the day. I can't imagine that this is going to be an easy one for Tiamba to hold on to, and certainly not good for Ascent. Quinn is going to get that knock onto 7-7, but it's not going to save Ascent. It may help Sonics to finish this one off, though. This is looking like a foregone conclusion if I've ever seen one. Sonics with 13 kills already. It's going to be a massive win for them. It'll be the top one for the day. It was 13 from Eternal Fire in game number 3, but Sonics are going to go just past that.
Shrimsy's on 9. He's got the grenades. Going to try and blow down the fence and maybe get it over the top. Oh, it doesn't matter. CC's grenade does the damage to himself, denies the point, and it will only be a second win of the game